Welcome everybody. I'm here with J.R. Lee, and he is the head pastor at Freedom Church. And so, I really just wanted to kind of hang out with you a little bit and be able to dialogue a little bit about where spiritual health and mental health intersect. There's a big part of what we do that's very similar, and helping people maybe make the transition from the church to maybe the counseling room.
Right. Yeah, we're kicking off a new series right now called I Want a New Marriage. And, I really think that there are a lot of similarities between the two. And I would love to be able to kind of bridge the gap and to really help people to see that there are so many resources out there for them when it comes to marriage, and some things that are out there to really help them. And I'm excited about the possibilities, and I just believe that there's a lot out there for married couples that maybe they don't even know. Maybe they don't realize that a lot of these resources are there and they are available. So,
well, it's a big piece. We have a marriage. Divorce rate is high. And so letting people know that here are some resources to help you in your marriage and keep it healthy and keep it lasting.
Right.
So you got this series going on. Tell me a little bit about what you guys are doing here at Freedom Church.
We are. We're doing the series. It's called I Want a New Marriage. And when we kick this thing off, we're just trying to give people some basic things to really help them, because there's a lot of elements to marriage and how to walk through and mature through those seasons. I didn't realize this when I got married, but every marriage is going to experience seasons of dissatisfaction.
Okay.
But not every marriage can mature through those seasons. They don't know how to do it.
Yeah.
And and I want to help people to understand that even though there are periods of misery on the way to maturity, you can make it through it. You don't have to just survive in marriage. You really can thrive in this thing if you begin to follow the principles that God has laid out. And both partners are giving 100% and trying to become the men and women that God has created them to be.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of the angle we're going at it
You
from.
know what, though? I thought you said something before when we were talking a little bit before we started filming, was love your wife as Christ loved the church. But the flip side on that, and I don't know, it might be kind of interesting to go and look at it from this angle, is how did Christ respond to the church maybe when that relationship wasn't going so well?
Right.
And how he worked within that when he felt maybe angry, or for guys frustrated,
Right.
or maybe when things were going well and he enjoyed, or he was responding in a way that showed love or affection or joy, and looking at it from rounded maybe view, instead of just coming from it from, everything has to be this way, or that's too perfect, or this maybe standard that, I don't know, some people may see as that's too high, I can't live up to it.
Right. Yeah, when we got married, I knew that I was supposed to love my wife. That's pretty much a given. Hopefully that you don't get married until you love someone.
Yeah, I hope so.
But those next 6 words, man, is what makes it so difficult. Just as Christ loved the church.
I know.
And when you think about how did Christ love you, and let's just talk about me, because I know me better than I know you.
All right, what you got?
But man, I was a pretty hard person to love. I wasn't worthy of receiving it.
Okay.
But he, not only did he forgive first, he sacrificed the most. He came to this earth, lived a perfect life, so that he could set me free from sin and from the bondage of sin and death. And a lot of times we'll say, well, I'm working as hard as I can on my marriage, but my wife or my husband isn't willing to meet me halfway. I never met Christ halfway. He came all the way down to get me. Yeah. He lifted me up. And he's the one who made the relationship happen. And so from a guy's perspective, if we're called to love our wife in the same way, that is a tremendous responsibility and a very high calling, one that we should take very seriously.
Well, JR, when you're saying that, from a counseling perspective, that raises the question for me, are you waiting on your spouse, or are you moving towards your spouse?
Yeah, I think you have to be moving towards them. And really, if both partners are moving towards God, they're going to be moving closer to each other. However, if one partner, which is often the case, is stagnant, or if one partner is even running the other direction, the other spouse doesn't really have the right to just say, well, just forget it and throw up their hands.
It would be,
well, there you go. It's stigma of our society, I would guess.
Right.
But at any rate, it's just very important that whoever it is, even as from my angle as the guy, it's very, very important that we do whatever it takes to restore the relationship and to do our part even, to do whatever it takes to become the couple and become the people that God created us to be. So.
Okay. All right. So one of the big things that I know we were kind of talking about, and we both said it at this point, is loving your wife as Christ loved the church. You know, one part, I guess, from maybe the counseling perspective I think of is, one, if you're going to do that, then are you looking at that from your relationship and who you know as your creator and what he did within the church? Or are you using a model maybe that was communicated to you, or maybe another relationship that you've seen, that maybe you've got a filter on that, and you're doing some things in the relationship that they don't mirror that image at all, and you're going by a model that is either unhealthy or dysfunctional.
Yeah, we do what we know. And so if you grew up in a family that was less than perfect and less than ideal, which pretty much means every single person, you're going to model what you've always seen. And so a lot of times you might think you're relating to your wife, but you're actually relating to your father or your mother or the other marriages that you have seen. And so you got to almost unlearn a lot of unhealthy activities and unhealthy practices in order to do it God's way. They say the definition of insanity is to do the same things over and over again and expect different results. That's what we do, you know? And so why don't we just admit it and say, we are not good at this thing on our own. Let's move that, take our agenda and put it to the side and say, God, let's do it your way and let's see what happens.
Well, I mean, you know, you said crazy, and that rings a bell to me because, you know, you think of counseling and some people may think like, well, I can't do that. It'd be crazy to do that. Look, I don't see crazy people. I see people that are in difficult situations or difficult circumstances and joining with them to process what's going on. I think there's a lot of wisdom in individuals that seek that out, and maybe they see some of those things, they go listen to something or a message that in the church, and they go, you know what, I'm hearing some stuff here. I don't have the resources or tools. I can see that this is a problem or it's going to be a problem, and I'm going to seek out some assistance to help work through this.
Right. Yeah. And for me, you know, I don't want to be one of those guys that a lot of times our tendency is to wait until things have gotten so bad to get help. It's like the Titanic sinking and you're like falling off the deck. You're about to hit the water and then you finally yell help. When in reality, you're like an hour too late. You know what I'm saying? And so I want to help people to understand that they need to get help at the first sign of alarm. When you hear the smoke alarm in your house, you don't say, well, I've got to hit the snooze button. I can go to sleep for another 30 minutes. You say, why the heck is the smoke alarm going off?
So stop watching the band?
Yeah, exactly. Stop watching the band. Stop listening to the song. Stop wondering if Leonardo DiCaprio, if your girl, is going to take you out to the front and help you fly away. And get some daggum help. You know what I mean? And do it at the first sign. I go to counseling once a month, and all my friends initially, you know, they were wondering why. I went because I believe that it is healthy and it can help me, and I want to make sure that I don't sabotage my life. And I think, man, we would be so wise if we could help people to recognize that there are resources for help, whether it's in the counseling field or it's at the church, or it's just saying, I'm going to do whatever it is that God said to do, and I'm going to do it His way. Whatever your angle is fine with me, but just get help and do what you need to do.
All right, so now you got some application coming in this series and maybe some specific points on how to work within your marriage and make application to what Christ is telling us biblically.
Right.
And so, you know, I thought maybe it might be interesting to maybe just kind of talk about one of those points here before we kind of close.
Yeah, and just really quickly, you know, I'll try to keep it extremely simple. And we say, listen, as a guy, you know, for me personally, when I see my wife, I'm married to this beautiful, smoking hot, blonde-headed beauty queen of a girl.
All right.
And I think that every time I see her.
Yeah.
But I say it like once every month or something. Okay. And, you know, and it means a lot for her if I were to bring that up and to say it and to speak what I mean and to say what I mean and to say, baby, you look good. And for me, that's simple. But to her, like, that lifts her head. That is so elevating in her life. And so that's just one of the things, man. If you think something good about your wife, say it, speak it, do it, whatever it is, because it's going to make a world of difference to her.
Well,